Hey folks, this is HKPSG1 Shooter doing a review on the Lite camp stove. This is something really neat, great addition for camping or survival. I just wanted to share this with y'all, so stay tuned. My parents actually bought this for me as a gift. They know I do a lot of camping and survival stuff. Figured this would be a good addition to all my equipment. And after using it, I have to concur. So let's take a look at it. Basically, this is your kettle pot, and inside of your kettle pot is the camp stove, believe it or not. And this kettle pot here might take up maybe as much, maybe just a little more room than one of the larger size propane tanks like you use for small grills and such. So we'll open up our kettle pot here. That's the power unit, and I still don't understand how this works, so don't ask me. But as the fire burns, it heats up this copper lug, and it runs through this heat exchanger unit. It creates a hot-cold differential, and the difference creates energy, which powers a small rechargeable battery that's inside of this that operates a blower. And not only does it operate a blower, but there's also a port, USB port here, for charging a cell phone or anything else that uses a USB, or powering a small USB powered LED light, which would be great for camping. Anyhow, this is our burn barrel, I guess you could call it. You see how big that is? It's not very big at all. So the way we do this is to place this unit, this copper lug, at an upward angle into here. Then our leg folds in place to hold that, and these two forward legs fold out to hold the front. Like so. Okay, so there it is sitting on the ground. And I'm going to show you how you can boil a pot of water using a pile of sticks this big. I know you think I'm crazy, but I'm going to show you. So we begin by breaking up our twigs, toothpick sized twigs. And that's the great thing about this, because in a lot of places that you camp, for instance Cape Lookout National Seashore, you're only allowed to take wood off of the beach, such as driftwood. You're not allowed to take any wood from the maritime forest areas, even if it's on the ground. And the reason being for that is because those accumulations of wood are important for the sand to accumulate and build dunes to preserve those islands. But a lot of places, a lot of parks and such will have issues with you cutting wood. And as I always tell people, there's never any need to cut a tree for firewood when you're camping, because there's plenty of dead wood on the ground. But even with dead wood, you still have to, you're gathering up logs, that are as big around as your arm, your leg, whatever. You're having to drag them back to camp. You're still having to break those up. Now, it takes a lot less energy to do that than it does to chop a log up with an axe, obviously. And there's basically nowhere that I can think of that you can go that you can't find twigs. You may not always find good timber, good lumber, whatever, for making firewood, but twigs, they're everywhere. So now with our fuel, our starter fuel here in the fire pit, burn barrel, whatever you want to call it, we're now going to take a piece of fat lighter to get her started. And you can always tell that God loves Southern people just a little more because He gave us fat lighter. So we'll let her start burning here and get going. Okay, now once the fire begins to heat up that copper lug, this thing will usually automatically kick itself, well, there it is right there, automatically kicks itself on, starts running the blower here. You can hear it running, and you see the fire beginning to stoke up. This creates like a internal cyclone effect within the burn barrel to generate more heat. So, with that going, we'll proceed to load a little more fuel in there. Notice now that I'm using slightly larger, well, on this scale, I guess you could call them logs, being how large they are for the size barrel we're using to burn, but still, these are very small twigs in comparison. But we're going to take 1 liter of water and put it on here. And we're going to see how long it takes to boil this. 1 liter, or 4 cups, roughly. So we'll let that run for a little bit and see what we got. Now bear in mind here that I'm still working with this same small pile of wood that I started out with. You can see that down in the pot it's beginning to heat up on the bottom. Ain't quite boiling yet, but it's starting to warm up, and haven't used very much wood. So we're going to keep watch on it and see what it does here. Now as you can see here on the power module, when this green light here at the bottom comes on, it means that the internal battery system has enough power to begin charging your USB powered device. And of course we can adjust our fan speed from low to high. They say that it runs better on low. You can see here that our water is definitely beginning to boil. I'm going to add, we still got just a few more twigs left here, but I'm going to add this to it. That's basically the last of our twigs there. And as I said, that's going to be enough to boil that liter of water. Now you think about building a regular campfire, how much coals you would have to boil a liter of water versus this small unit here. And you can see here it is beginning to boil. Another advantage of using twigs like this for your firewood is, let's think about it this way. After a heavy downpour, which type of wood dries out quicker? You know, heavy logs that have been laying on the ground, or small twigs? You know, we've had some rain here in the last couple of days, but see, you break this twig, it's dry inside. So that's the other advantage of using twigs, is even after, you know, a lot of rain, you're pretty much assured that the twigs are going to burn where heavier wood may not. So that's another advantage to it. Alright, so there it is. And the other great thing about this is that you can actually grill on it too. Now I know you're going to ask me, well, PSG1, how in the world do you grill on this thing? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to show you right here. This is our grill unit. Check this out. Has a removable plastic case. Okay. Now, this thing here is really neat. To use it, we want to flip these legs out by bending them out like this. Press in on the tabs and bend them out like so. Then to set it up, this little flange will fit right in here like so. This flap opens up so that you can add your firewood straight into the hole without having to take the grill off. Of course, when you're cooking, you'll want to keep this flap closed, because if you leave it open, the grill actually starts to cool off. And when you're cooking, your hot zone is, of course, up close to this flap area. Your cooler zone of the grill is out here. I have cooked 3 hamburgers at a time on it, and the other night I grilled a steak with just enough firewood that it probably would have filled that kettle pot with little twigs and stuff. Again, this is an amazing thing. You can see the heat right down in there rises up through here like a convection oven. Imparts a nice wood flavor to whatever you're grilling. And here in a minute, when it finishes burning, I'm going to show you how surprisingly little ash that it produces. I figure while we're waiting on the grill to cool down, and while this water's still warm, I want to show you something else. Improvised field-expedient coffee maker. I've already got my coffee cup here. Hey, pretty mama, take it easy. I've already added my powdered creamer and my sugar to it, so I'm going to show you this little trick. I think you'll like this. Basically, just a little plastic salsa bowl, and then one of these reusable coffee screens. For each cup of coffee, it's about a teaspoon of coffee grounds. And you just want to pour this in here like this. And just let it steep for a minute. Then pull your basket out, discard your grounds, like so, and you have freshly brewed coffee. Hey, pretty mama, we're getting hot over here now. Alright, so, have our Elvis Presley cup of coffee. And that right there, that's every bit as good as home brewed, and it's a whole lot better than instant coffee. That stuff is like rot gut. You about have to have Everclear to chase it with. So anyway, there you have it. Like I said, the entire unit takes up about as much room as a large propane tank. And of course, this grill here, cool thing about this grill is after you grill, you know, you've got grease and stuff all over it. It's still a little hot to do it right now, so I'm not going to do it. But this case basically snaps around it, and then that flap on the bottom closes up this flange. So you just close it up, throw the whole thing in your backpack, and you're done. And you just heard the fan motor shut down on this. Cool thing about this grill, this unit here, is it'll let you know when it's done, because it'll turn itself off automatically when the temperature sensor here reaches that point, that it's safe to move it around and handle it. So to disassemble, we flip this leg back up underneath there, remove the power unit, and then we fold the other 2 legs up like so. And check this out. That's all the ash that it produced to boil 1 liter of water. That's it. Just a pile of twigs. Did that. And like I said, I have grilled steak on it. I've grilled hamburger on it. Doesn't take up much room. It's an ideal camping or survival thing. It all goes back together, goes in a backpack. Takes up a lot less room than a Coleman gas grill, that's for sure. And as you've seen here, we made Elvis a little hot there, pretty mama. We made us some field-expedient coffee. And so there you go. A couple of little pieces of info for you next time you're camping. You can make your own fresh coffee. You don't have to deal with that rot gut instant crap. You can make your own with just a bowl and a screen. It's that easy. Meanwhile, check into the Lite camp grill. You can see our water is still piping hot here. It's what I use to make that coffee. Lite camp grill runs about $125 and well worth the money in my opinion, because like I said, it takes up about as much room as a propane tank, and unlike a propane fired grill, you're not running the risk of having tanks run empty on you, having to buy more, that sort of thing, and you have an endless source of fuel, small twigs. So well worth the money. This is HKPSG1 Shooter. Thanks for watching. Till next time, signing off.